Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Marga Arenas Vargas, and it is my honor to be your host for the 11th breakout track of the Philippine Digital Convention 2020 entitled eMANUFACTURING and Logistics, brought to you by PLDT Enterprise, SMART, and ePLDT. We're excited to have you join us as we continue to help you discover how you can pivot your enterprise towards success to ensure lasting and effective change as we enter the new future of work. Truly, the Philippine Digital Convention 2020 is set to be like no other, as this is the first all-virtual iteration of the convention. But as we like to say at PLDT, pivot or perish, this virtual convention is but a manifestation of how we've transformed in light of the current business landscape. Likewise, we hope that it serves as a venue for you to find ways for your organization to continuously evolve. But before we get to that, we would once again like to thank our official event partners. Today, we will take a look at supply chain digitization, big data, omni-channel marketing, and how these capabilities are enabling the agility of the manufacturing and logistics industry. This session aims to showcase Industry 4.0 solutions and the latest in technology that can help digitize and innovate this sector. Defy limitations and borders as we bring technology and industry experts together with respected local and global leaders from various key industries across the region and the world, together in this virtual space. But just because we're virtual doesn't mean that this year's session is going to be any less interactive or engaging. We would love to hear from you, so do share your thoughts and insights by keying them in the chat box or by posting them in your respective social media accounts with official event hashtags, hashtag Brace for Impact and hashtag PHDigicon 2020. And also get a chance to win exciting raffle prizes just by answering our feedback form, which will be made available after this session, so stay tuned for that. Our first speaker has served as an industry analyst for over 20 years. He focuses on how technologies such as blockchain and AI can give users a future competitive advantage. And now to share the latest industry news and developments such as the acceleration of supply chain, digitization, and global trends in the manufacturing and logistics sector, please welcome GLOBALDATA's Chief Analyst for Tech, Thematic Research, Mr. Stuart Ravens.
Good afternoon. I'm Stuart Ravens, Chief Analyst in GLOBALDATA's Thematic Research team. Thanks to PLDT for inviting me to speak today. I talk to companies across the world about the major themes that affect their companies and the sectors in which they operate. At the start of this year, the most important theme that we were telling companies about was sustainability, but how quickly that changed. COVID-19 has had a permanent and deep impact on the global manufacturing and logistics industry. While other sectors may have been impacted harder, they may well return to something that resembles 2019. But for many reasons, this will not be the case for manufacturing and logistics. For one, the recovery will be very much technology-led. We expect all manufacturers and logistics companies to accelerate their digital transformations. Now, this won't be across the entirety of their businesses. Investments in digital will be made in a select number of areas. For example, full factory automation, we expect these projects will be delayed as companies refocus on the areas that will impact their business the most. And we really don't expect that full change to robotic automation will occur within the next 12 to 18 months. Instead, investments in digital will mean investments in data and analytics. And that will not only be for improving efficiency, but also to help in the renewed focus on worker safety, enforcing social distancing, and improving hygiene standards across the entire supply chain. And this isn't just because manufacturing and logistics companies want to do this for their customers. We expect customers will insist on this and will carry on insisting on this for a long time into the future. But interestingly, the automation tools that manufacturing and logistics companies have invested in over the last decade can also be used to improve employee safety. So we'll be relying on existing tools for new purposes. For example, digital twins, which is for me is just an approach to data management, which allows companies to run scenario planning for assets and operational efficiency, can also allow companies to do scenario planning for staff management. De-risking, diversification, and supply chain transparency will all be covered in later slides. But part of the changes that will be increased customer scrutiny. And manufacturing and logistics companies will need data to feed their customers' requirements for visibility into their supply chains. And we think a critical competitive advantage will be individual manufacturers and logistics companies self-reporting a safety data to their end customers. Collaboration tools are highly critical. As we've seen, as companies move to more home-based working, collaboration with office workers across plants and collaboration within and across that supply chain in distribution systems and through to end customers are vital tools to maintain the supply chain for our customers. The industry will minimize paper and face-to-face meetings, and this will all be done through the increased use of collaboration tools. But with increased digitization comes increased risks of cyber attacks. Manufacturers and logistics companies cannot ignore these risks. Every new point of contact and connection through the supply chain increases the attack surface for cyber criminals. So it's beholden on every company within the supply chain to ensure that they have the appropriate cybersecurity measures in place to mitigate the effects of this increased attack surface. So the longevity of the virus and the necessary measures to combat it, ranging from supplying masks through to hygiene management to social distancing across the entire supply chain, will depend on when or whether a vaccine or effective medication against the virus is available. Rapid victory over the virus would have lessened the depth of change in the industry. However, we are now thinking less of a post-COVID world and more about how to live with the virus in the long term. One recent example is the discovery in China of COVID on seafood imports. Supply chains must renew the focus on hygiene. And this hygiene standards have to be raised in manufacturing plants, in the packaging that's used, in goods in transit, and in warehousing. And we expect increased scrutiny of all points of the supply chain. But the world is changing, and changing for many different reasons. And one way that the supply chain will change is that China's role as the factory of the world is really under threat. And it's under threat for many reasons. Companies' over-reliance on Chinese suppliers was exposed when Wuhan province entered lockdown. And customers that used Wuhan as their single point of supply for products were exposed, and they could no longer ship products to sell to customers. But it's more than that. There's a lack of trust in the government's COVID data, its communication about when COVID struck, and openness about infection rates. There's increased investor scrutiny of company sustainable practices. So when end customers are using China as a supply base, They will come under increasing scrutiny from their shareholders about human rights violations in China, be that in the Uyghurs or in Hong Kong. And this can deter companies from concentrating their manufacturing base in China. There's the ongoing trade wars with US largely, but also with countries like Australia. So the fate of Chinese manufacturing really lies largely in the hands of how successful the Communist Party's current diplomatic efforts are over the coming months. But we believe the next 18 months will be a busy time for supply chain professionals. There's going to be a huge impact on logistics, and there's going to be a refocusing on what supply chain best practices are. You may be asking yourself why I've placed a photo of Zara next to a Chinese manufacturing plant. Well, there's a reason for that. We believe it's the end of just-in-time supply chains. We expect companies to build redundancy into their supply chains, and we expect there to be significant reshoring and multi-shoring of supply chains, which could largely benefit ASEAN countries. But there's plenty that can be learnt from Zara, even if you're not an apparel retailer. Zara's manufacturing and supply chain operations are famous. They're famous because they're spread across many countries, which hedges them against geographical influences in their supply chain. And that came to the fore when COVID struck Italy. It was quickly able to redirect manufacturing to Spain and Greece. But why has Zara got such a diverse supply chain? I mean, it revolutionized the low-cost fast fashion industry. Before Zara, it would usually take about 18 months for designs that were seen on the catwalk to reach the high street. And Zara changed that from 18 months to just a handful of weeks. It's able to do 12 inventory turns a year in comparisons to its competitors' 3 to 4 turns, making it more receptive to market changes. They're flexible with production rates, so there's less inventory and stock in the supply chain and less need to finance that stock. Zara uses a logistics model where they prefer to store stocks in stores as opposed to large centralized warehouses. And this allowed them, when companies went into lockdown and people weren't allowed to visit physical stores, to easily shift to online purchases within its stores. It kept its inventory at a minimum, but it allowed to redirect its staff to working on other tasks, such as online delivery, rather than just working in the retail stores themselves. And finally, what I'm showing is now a couple of slides, and these were taken from an audit into the cobalt supply chain of an electric vehicle company. And this was carried out by University. I don't expect you to be able to read the text in either of the graphics that I'm showing currently. The whole point is that what we see on the left is the company's perception of what its supply chain looked like before it audited that supply chain, and what the supply chain actually looked like after the audit was carried out. It shows that most companies really don't have a grasp on how complex their supply chains actually are. And a lack of knowledge about supply chains, particularly today, can be the difference between collapse and survival of companies. We expect companies to be more closely identify, scrutinize, and mitigate their supply chain risks. Reshoring and multi-shoring will happen as a consequence of these audits. As risks within supply chain are identified and the plans to mitigate these risks and increase resilience within the supply chain. Analytics will play a more dominant role in managing supply chain risks, and therefore we expect customers to be more regularly and thoroughly auditing their suppliers for these risks, including sustainability for environmental, social, and governance aspects within those supply chains. This brings me to the end of my presentation. For me, the key messages are, in a time of likely significant upheaval, be open with your customers and embrace increased scrutiny. Growth will return. International competition will increase. Best practices in sharing information, self-reporting, and regulatory compliance will be a competitive differentiator in the future. So give your customers the reassurance that you are their safest supplier. Just don't expect to return to 2019. Thanks again for listening, and thanks to PLDT for inviting me. Please stay safe.
Thank you for that very informative presentation, Mr. Ravens. Now to share insights on the current state of the air freight and sea freight sectors and the Philippine government's response to the current situation, please welcome President of Philippine Multimodal Transportation and Logistics Associations, Inc., or PMT-LI, and the General Manager of Kintetsu World Express Philippines, Inc., Ms. Marilyn Alberto.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Philippine Multimodal Transport and Logistics Association, I would like to thank PLDT for the opportunity to give you a brief overview of what's happening in the Philippine multimodal transport and logistics industry as we face one of the greatest disruption of our lives, the coronavirus pandemic. While many businesses were at a standstill, supply chains and logistics operations have been on the front line of the crisis, trying to keep essential supplies moving in the face of significant transport disruptions, movement restrictions, and dramatic volatility in supply and demand. In the early stages of the pandemic, as major airlines cut passenger flights by 90%, as passenger travel collapsed, more than half of the global uplift capacity of air freight also vanish. Passenger traffic is not expected to come back in the near-term level. Hence, as of August, commercial flights coming in and out of the Manila International Airport is still at 21% of 2019 levels. Despite such dearth in belly capacity, the import and export volume by air has shown better performance. With demand slowly coming back, air import volume is now at 80%, while air export is at 71% of 2019 levels as of August. This was made possible through the use of chartered freighters or aircrafts carrying only cargo, freighters or passenger flights converted to carry cargo only, and cargo in cabin flights. While such options provide extra capacity, exporters and importers have to endure very high costs just to keep their goods moving, about 3 to 7 times higher compared to pre-COVID rates. In the case of sea freight, due to lower demand, the industry was initially hounded by blank sailings or skipping of ports. This meant longer transit times for shipments and also higher rates due to lowered capacity. Now that demand is slowly increasing, shippers have to pay premium rates to have a guarantee in equipment availability and priority in loading. Aside from high freight costs, the industry suffered from delays and additional costs due to inefficiencies in cargo processing and releasing. Now, the happy part. The lack of capacity in sea freight and air freight, the delays and unpredictable transit time, and the exponential growth in e-commerce has given rise to opportunities and higher demands in warehousing services. To give way for buffer inventories, there has been an inclination towards just in case over the just-in-time supply chains. With all the challenges facing the industry, COVID-19 has intensified government and private sector improvements and automation. It has also prompted government to address the concerns that have long been raised but hardly acted upon before the pandemic. To address the concerns on unreasonable practices, fees, and charges imposed by international and domestic shipping lines, the Department of Transportation issued Department Order Number 2020-8, which established the Shippers Protection Office. To help reduce costs and demurrage charges, the Department of Transportation issued Department Order Number 2020-9 prescribing a minimum free time period of 8 days for cargoes unloaded by international shipping lines, an improvement from the usual 5 days. Due to COVID-19, government has stepped up and also pushed for changes in processes that the industry has long been clamoring for, but has not taken off for years. Paperless connectivity through virtual and digital transactions. Spearheaded by the Anti-Red Tape Authority and together with the Bureau of Customs, Philippine Ports Authority, Department of Trade and Industry, a joint memorandum circular number 1-2020 has been issued for the mandatory online filing, processing, and payment of port charges, cargo handling charges, other cargo handling related charges, permits and ancillary fees, and customs taxes and duties. The automation of the Bureau of Customs has also been given a stronger push. Among the ICT projects are the E2M stabilization, online inventory management system for off-dock container yards, container freight stations, and customs bonded warehouses, and the electronic tracking of containerized cargo or e-track system, which enables real-time monitoring of the location and monitoring of movements of the containerized cargo and secure its transport to the intended destinations through the use of GPS-enabled tracking devices. COVID-19 has also prompted the development of Supply Chain Analytics or SCAN Dashboard and Incident Reporter app, a reporting mechanism on supply chain bottlenecks that goes to IATF for resolution. COVID-19 has given the best opportunity for technology to prove its worth. Across the logistics sector, companies have embraced innovative solutions to help overcome difficulties and maintain operations in the most challenging circumstances. Even small companies have finally considered ready to adopt digital platforms that suit their company's budget and client needs. They realize that they do not have to transform everything, but rather they need to choose the right things to digitalize to better manage and grow their business effectively. Even large multinational transport and logistics companies have intensified their programs to reinvent and innovate as they see the immense digital potential of cutting-edge technologies to unlock new opportunities for business, open new markets, reduce costs, gain new efficiencies, and increase the company's overall competitive advantage. Adoption of new technology will ultimately determine industry leadership positions in the future. Enhanced digital maturity allows us to focus on social and business trends that will shape the future of the logistics industry. To stay ahead and actively shape the transformation, we need to continuously identify and embrace new trends. It is therefore my pleasure to be a part of this year's PLDT Digital Convention as it presents new trends and opportunities to future-proof our business through digitization. Thank you.
Those were very good insights, Ms. Alberto. Here to share some insights on the technology utilization status of manufacturing companies in the Philippines, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Undersecretary of DTI, Ms. RAFAELITA ALDABA.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to join today's discussion on e-manufacturing and logistics. Prior to the crisis, we were already witnessing the entry of Industry 4.0 technologies. Now more than ever, we realize the importance of adopting these new technologies. Are Philippine companies, MSMEs in particular, prepared to adopt these new technologies? I want to share with you the highlights of a technology utilization survey that we carried out to help us understand the Industry 4.0 readiness of our firms and industries. The survey assessed 8 technology dimensions covering planning and scheduling, equipment connectivity, manufacturing activity, materials and handling, equipment maintenance, quality, shop floor visibility, and cybersecurity. For each dimension, the companies were asked to rate themselves based on the following levels. 0 if the operation is purely manual, meaning the company has no technology utilization. It gets a score of 1 if it is using spreadsheet management, meaning the company has very low tech utilization. It gets a score of 2 if it has a standalone database management system, which is interpreted as low tech utilization. A score of 3 if it is applying manufacturing execution system, or MES, which is interpreted as high tech utilization. And 4 if it has MES and technologies like industrial Internet of Things, big data, robotics, or machine learning, implying very high-tech utilization. A total of 144 companies responded to the survey, 47% of which were MSMEs. The bulk of the company respondents are still in level 1 or very low tech utilization and level 2 or low level of tech utilization. 65% of micro enterprises are in level 1, 38% of small enterprises are in level 2, 67% of medium-sized enterprises are in level 1, 48% of large enterprises are in level 2. The highest scores were in cybersecurity, quality, and manufacturing activity management. The lowest were in equipment maintenance, equipment connectivity, and data management. The survey also showed that large enterprises have the highest scores, while, as expected, micro and small enterprises have the lowest. In terms of geographic distribution, the highest technology utilization is still in NCR, in Region 3 and Region 4A. We also asked the companies what their primary considerations were for adopting Industry 4.0. The most important are the improvement in productivity and competitiveness, cost of investment, innovation, and technological advancement. In terms of the constraints, they mentioned financial capability, market conditions, and poor digital infrastructure. To address the constraints cited by firms, DTI has been preparing Industry 4.0 readiness initiatives. We are working with the UNIDO in crafting Industry 4.0 roadmaps. We are also conducting a feasibility study for the establishment of an Industry 4.0 pilot factory together with an SME academy to provide Industry 4.0 trainings to MSMEs. We are also formulating an artificial intelligence roadmap to make the Philippines an AI center of excellence. Together with DOLE and TESDA, we are formulating an Industry 4.0 human resource development roadmap. We are planning to implement a program to provide fiscal and non-fiscal support to MSMEs and large companies that are transitioning from analog to digital technologies. To conclude, there are 4 points that I want to highlight. First, our current strategy, which we call I3S, or Inclusive Innovation Industrial Strategy, focuses on embracing the fourth industrial revolution. Through the use and adoption of new technologies, we can strengthen the competitiveness, resilience, and sustainability of our industries. Second, companies need to innovate, integrate into digital economy, form industry clusters, and pursue global collaboration. Third, the academe and training providers need to adopt programs to meet the demand for talent created by Industry 4.0. Lastly, we are strengthening government-academe-industry collaboration to address the challenges and make the most of the advantages brought about by technological developments. As we shift towards Industry 4.0, we need to ensure that no enterprise, no region, no worker is left behind. We do not want the adoption of new technologies to widen the digital divide in the country. Let us all work together in investing in human capital and rethinking transition support and social protection for enterprises and workers. Thank you and good morning once again.
Thank you for your insightful presentation, USEC ALDABA. Our next speaker has been in the telecommunication industry for more than 20 years. 17 years of which is with PLDT Group. During his stint in SMART, he was tasked to manage the entire corporate sales team and later on led the integration of SMART corporate sales team with corporate business group of PLDT. In PLDT, he successfully managed the regional sales team, driving the revenue portfolio to an unprecedented growth. Currently, he is the AVP and head of FMCG Logistics, Pharmaceutical, and Academe Industries. Let's hear from the corporate relationship head of PLDT Enterprise, Mr. Dick Perez, to walk us through the evolving e-manufacturing and logistics and an overview of the latest technologies accelerating change and transformation.
Good afternoon to our DigiCon 2020 delegates, and thank you for attending the Manufacturing and Logistics Breakout Session. A huge thanks to our distinguished speakers who shared with you interesting insights on how the pandemic affected the manufacturing and logistics landscape, both global and domestic. This crisis has presented a new way to do business. It is no longer a question of a need to change, but more of a where and what to change. The future of supply chain needs to be planned for as we approach the new norm. Key challenges and opportunities that are expected from supply chain professionals from now until 2025 will include realizing cost savings, rationalizing supply base, improving supply chain risk prediction and management, providing high-level strategic foresight, collaboration, and innovation with suppliers. The success of the supply chain operations will depend on the improvements in these areas. And utilizing new technologies will be key in keeping pace with supply chain industry leaders. The manufacturing, warehouse, logistics, and distribution industry is now at that critical point. The heightened safety precautions have required the manufacturing and logistic companies to work in emergency services as governments and related associations work hard to keep the essential supplies flowing. During this difficult time, it is essential for companies to have an immediate focus on enabling end-to-end visibility, agility, process flexibility, and collaboration to support their customers in anticipating disruptions which can mitigate the impact. It will now depend on the decision makers react to the ever-changing landscape that will shape its future. Automation in manufacturing, warehouse, logistics, and distribution is transforming the industry, addressing the challenges that the business is facing right now, such as low operational efficiency, higher cost of operation, cyber attacks, and lack of or absence of collaboration. It needs to be addressed to keep the supply chain afloat. On a positive note, it presents an opportunity to embark on a holistic digital transformation, which will give companies the ability to future-proof their business. AI, machine learning, IoT, augmented reality, and virtual reality are essential in enhancing operational efficiency to strategically reduce operation costs. According to research by Boston Consulting Group, spending on robotics worldwide will quadruple from approximately $15 billion in 2010 to about $67 billion by 2025. The industrial sector will grow at the fastest rate, from $5.8 billion to $24.4 billion. However, technology advancements come with certain risks. The proliferation of computer viruses, malwares, phishing, and the like increases as we go digital. To protect the business from cyber threats, companies must have the right partner that use AI and machine learning protected by cybersecurity solutions that will identify and mitigate threats from internal and external attacks. This is crucial in preventing disruption in operations, which could result to huge revenue loss. Another challenge that companies are experiencing is the absence of a collaborative environment. Solutions like a fully integrated ERP facilitates collaboration, which paves the way for companies to enjoy dramatic reduction in inventory and cost, together with improvement in speed, service level, and customer satisfaction. The supply chain value framework shows the key imperatives for manufacturing, warehouse, logistics, and distribution to succeed in the future. Each segment must focus on first, operational efficiency, and second, process efficiency. Systems equipped with data analytics are greatly providing confidence to key executives in making realistic and timely decisions to determine the best course of action in approaching a problem. The third key imperative is infrastructure. It must be future-ready to anticipate any crisis. And finally, an efficient collaboration solution. Successful companies must be ready to adopt new technologies to improve collaboration to achieve a borderless workplace. At this point, please allow me to share with you a quote from Alison Corcoran. And I quote, "When it comes to marrying online with offline efforts, technology is not a driver, but it is critical in making it happen." End of quote. In summary, digital pivot is a critical step in coping up with the current crisis. Companies are now forced to invest on technology to remain competitive. Later on, our PLDT and ePLDT industry solution experts will share with you some groundbreaking systems and solutions that will enhance production and process efficiency. We are one with you in building a resilient and future-proof supply chain. Thank you for listening, and I wish you all a productive and insightful afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. That segment was very informative. Again, we would love to hear your thoughts and insights. Do key them in the chat box or post them in your respective social media accounts. When doing so, use the official event hashtags, #BraceForImpact and #PHDigicon2020. Now let's take a closer look at the technologies that have revolutionized the way we do business. Please welcome Head of Technical Pre-Sales of Nokia Enterprise, APAC, Mr. Matthew Simon.
The ways that we make things have changed overnight. Once wired and tethered, we're now wireless and light, and at least twice as smart with our digital twins. For in this new making, the agile one wins. So when markets or customers say, "I've changed my mind," we bend like a yogi, rethink and refine. We act on our insights and make a new line. The brain is the network, so nimble, so smart, secure and reliable. In essence, the heart that fuels the new making and all it can be, from shipping to logistics to factory to sea. Go all-where. Networking solutions for the new age of industry, like manufacturing. Nokia.
Mabuhay and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us this morning in this virtual breakout session for manufacturing and logistics. My name is Matthew, and this morning we'll be looking at digital automation, especially in the context of digital manufacturing. What does that mean? And how are you able to take advantage of it? Now you might be wondering, hey Matthew, I'm starting off in this journey. Is there a framework that I can refer to, I can use as a point of starting all of my discussion, to have a blueprint that I can refer to. And that's exactly the question that we asked Bell Labs, which is our research and development arm that looks at technological trends 5 to 10 years from now. And they came up with this blueprint called Future X for Industries. And that's really looking at how do you take advantage of digital transformation, having a framework, but one that you can take forward for the next 10 years. And they came up with this architecture, 4-layered architecture that looks at how you're able to harness the full benefit of digital automation. Right at the bottom of it is a high-performing network. And a high-performing network is a network that can sense and do a physical representation of your infrastructure, but in a digital way, or a digital twin that we call it. And that's really what a high-performing wired and wireless network is able to do. It's able to sense, gather the relevant information that you are able then to take actions, you're able then to control, and thereby taking advantage of digital automation. On top of that, with the immense amount of data that's coming in, you would require a multi-cloud approach, taking the data, taking the relevant points of how you can analyze the data, store the data, manipulate the data, and then make it into what we call actionable insights, where you can take actions against those data points that you have. You could have it on the edge, you could have it on your private cloud, or you could even have a multi-pronged solution which is based on hybrid cloud. Once you have this data, that's when you're really able to add what we call digital value platforms and also applications to take advantage and implement those automations that you're looking at. But that's only possible when you have the data available. And all of this is enveloped around security, which is really key for everything. Nokia took the action about saying, how do we make this a reality within our own premises? So we took this innovation into our factories in Chennai and Ulu and implemented many of these innovations within our own premises, because taking advantage of digital automation. What we've done, especially in our factory in Chennai, we took the first step. We made an all-fiber infrastructure, and not just based on legacy technology, but one that is forward-leaning. Passive optical LAN enables you to have a very compact method of deployment, a simple network where the active element is only the last 2 endpoints, everything else in between is passive, 20-kilometer reach, whereby you're able to reach every nook and corner within your manufacturing plant. And that's really the advantage it gives. 50% TCO savings and taking advantage of all the latest technologies that you can have. Once you have one that is fully fiberized, we overlaid with that with a complete wireless infrastructure. A wireless infrastructure that would connect every single device, sensor, people, your autonomous vehicles, all of that are all managed through and all managed and gathered through this one single network, which is completely wireless. That enables you to reconfigure your production line very agilely, able to gather information from any point that you want within a manufacturing plant. We built it on a private wireless infrastructure. It could be either 4G or 5G based, that can be deployed within your own premises, controlled by you, managed by you, but giving you the information that you need, which then can be fed into your application layers. Now you might be wondering, Matthew, I've implemented, what benefit have you gotten from implementing this? And that's really what the key driver of all of this is. We've seen a 16% overall end-to-end benefit from our TCO perspective in all of this being implemented. 31% reduction in manpower by being able to deploy more autonomous AGVs within the factory floor, which really improves productivity, but also improves and make sure that you are able to implement much more consistent processes within your organizations. And that's really some of the key benefits that you have already seen, and we are seeing much more benefit that's coming because we've only implemented something like 80%. And we still have ways that we can do other more innovative use cases out there. So I'm excited in this innovation that's happening in this industry. So I welcome you to join us as part of this transformation journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those valuable insights, Mr. Simon, here to demonstrate and show us practical applications of various technologies, redefining how the e-manufacturing and logistics sector can collaborate better in the new future of work. Please welcome Product Manager for Machine to Machine and Internet of Things of Smart Communications, Ms. JHOEY Benedicto, and Business Development Manager for Managed IT of PLDT, Mr. Jazz Garcia.
Good afternoon, everyone. We've seen the global landscape and the trends in the Philippine market. But what is in store for PLDT enterprise clients as we move together hand in hand towards building a faster, more efficient, and smarter manufacturing company? If we look at the manufacturing ecosystem, it would be fundamental to talk about the full supply chain, from the raw components to production, warehousing, handling, distribution, and onwards to the store shelves. There are more elements at work in this ecosystem, but for the context of this presentation, we will just zero in on these. Now, as the manufacturing ecosystem continues to evolve into the near future of manufacturing, or as what we call Industry 4.0, we think about the continuous transformation to provide further operational efficiency by automating, which results to productivity. We see that the involved verticals play a big role on productivity as it utilizes solutions based on the manufacturing industry's key considerations, which are operational efficiency, process efficiency, collaborative tools, and a robust infrastructure. So let us give you a sneak peek at what happens on site and at the back offices, and how all these solutions work together to reach your company's objective. Let's first start the tour with a visit at the manufacturing plant that makes bread. We see a plant manager enter the premises, clocking in with a temperature check. He then proceeds to wear his social distancing wearable alongside other colleagues roaming within the factory. He proceeds to his office and logs on to the Plant Information and Management System, or PIMS. Its monitoring portal shows real-time status information and performance of each machinery. All sensors are reading normal, except for a burner at the northeast wing of the factory. Sensors indicate that the unit is burning 35% hotter than normal. This merits a closer visit to the production floor, where sensors equipped to each manufacturing machinery collects data and provides status information to the PIMS. This system also provides predictive maintenance information, so certain components that require servicing are alerted immediately. It avoids costly downtime and prompts the maintenance team to avoid production interruptions. In the meantime, the factory is also equipped with multiple energy management sensors all around. Lights, temperature, humidity, and other information are sent to the same PIMS, which consolidates data not only from the sensors, but also to the machines and internal systems of the factory. It aggregates and provides visualization and analytics for the plant manager. And to ensure consistent connectivity, the factory is powered by PLDT iGate, which gives dedicated bandwidth so all machines are connected and working at their best. It is then sent to the warehouse for storing and picking. Bread crates are tagged with RFIDs for easy asset tracking. The RFID-enabled sensors communicate to an IoT hub, which sends out information to the monitoring system, so when an item is bound for delivery, the warehouse personnel accesses that system to help locate the items immediately for packing. Beyond the asset's location, it also provides info on when the asset was last utilized. Who was the last person who accessed it, and how was it utilized? With this tool, it reduces time wastage, prevents theft or loss, and organizes inventory information. Now, with an order request, the third-party logistics company sends out their trucks equipped with a GPS device and monitored through a fleet management solution, where the head office can track its whereabouts and see its driver's behavior. Now, as the truck approaches the compound of the factory, the warehouse receives an alert that the truck has entered the geo zone and its license plate is being validated by a visual imaging software. The delivery personnel are then equipped with the tablet with a digital form solution as reference for dispatching and deliveries, then uses it for acknowledgement of deliveries through a QR system. In parallel, the manufacturing company settles logistics services remotely through PayMaya Checkout. PayMaya Checkout accepts and processes credit and debit card payments. It comes with a suite of APIs, allowing the business to easily integrate their ERP with the payment platform, providing a secure and hassle-free experience. Eventually, with the support of the Department of Finance and BIR, we could also begin accepting electronic ORs to fully make transactions online and contactless.
And this paperless experience isn't just sustainable, but it also helps maintain a digital-first experience, which helps reduce error inputs when coordinating between teams and partners. And this experience also integrates seamlessly with simple ERP. With such a simple, accessible, and affordable platform, we're able to extend the capabilities of a SAP ERP system to proactively engage our partner distributors. Now, manufacturers should be able to streamline information from their side all the way to the distributors and retailers, all the while complying to BIR reporting and audit requirements. Minimize instances of critical inventory or even stockouts by using data to predict demand for each of their partners and quickly adapt their plant operations accordingly. And lastly, be able to track financial performance and reliability of partner performance regarding receivables, campaigns, and more. But who will be running this, you may ask? Are we making the distributors run and invest in this ERP system? No. Simple ERP charges per seat and runs on Microsoft Azure Stack Cloud infrastructure, hosted in ePLDT Vitro data centers, the first and only local instance of Azure, so our distributors can focus on what they do best. And the best part, simple ERP is already supported by ePLDT's Cybersecurity Operations Center and Managed Operations Center as a service, ensuring a secure and always reliable experience whenever me or our distributors access critical information. And the best part, since it's a cloud-based system, teams from both manufacturer and distributor side can update critical information in real time through their laptop or even mobile browser. Now, Anna, their account manager, can confirm that ABC Mart and Subic really needs fresh 3 trays of bread by next week just through a browser. And John can immediately coordinate with the manufacturer to book the delivery all the way from their head office. And regular business reviews with them have never been easier thanks to simple ERP as a single reliable source of truth. And the thing is, coordinating has never been so fast, especially now that they've just recently upgraded their workplace with Beyond Fiber to get 90% of the subscribed speed at 90% of the time, which was a totally felt upgrade from their previous DSL subscriptions. But it doesn't end there. Connectivity and collaboration between teams is further optimized by PLDT's Zero Trust Acceleration platform that keeps Anna's and John's information away from unnecessary public congestion and is encrypted and then transferred through transferred nodes for secure transmitting. So to put simply, data to the cloud goes zap anytime Anna and John want to access business applications. And really, it's these reliable, fast, secure, and scalable experiences that PLDT Enterprise is committed to providing our viewers today. We aim to help companies shift towards unparalleled levels of efficiency by simplifying the unnecessary complexities for our customers to focus on their core operations. Through our complete range of services, matched with technology expertise, we make sure that your transformation initiatives and technologies worked and are optimized for your business. And this is how we at PLDT Enterprise look to help the ecosystem truly be able to make smarter, move faster, and manage simpler. Thank you, and we look forward to hearing from everyone later during the Q&A.
What a great presentation. I hope that segment was as informative and insightful for all of you as it was for me. Thank you, Ms. Benedicto and Mr. Garcia. In one of the most disruptive times in history, there have been a lot of trends, research, and practices that have evolved along the way. To tell us more about smart IT for manufacturing and logistics, please welcome Strategic Sales Manager of CISCO, Mr. Ziyong Eo, and Systems Engineer for Service Provider of CISCO, Mr. George Dorsey.
Hi everyone, I'm Ziyong, Strategic Sales Manager for Meraki.
Hey everyone, George Dorsey, Partner Solution Architect for Cisco Meraki. Welcome to today's session. We're really excited to share with you some of the new things that are coming out and some of the use cases that are available around Meraki for manufacturing. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Ziyong to get us started.
Thank you, George. So as we enter the age of Industry 4.0, we are hearing many drivers, common drivers that's driving this evolution forward from a lot of our customers globally. Now, some of these drivers include, they are looking at maximizing uptime of their production quality, right? Improving safety, reliability, the ability to make improve decisions better based on analytics, based on data, securing businesses, and most importantly, gaining that full visibility into the entire supply chain process. So these are some of the common drivers that we hear that's driving the industry forward. Now, at Cisco Meraki, right, we are one of the fastest growing portfolio in Cisco, right? With a cloud native architecture, we simplify powerful technologies to free passionate people to focus on their missions. So as we speak, right, we are a trusted brand globally. We have 500,000 unique customers, over 7 million devices connected globally. It's growing, right, and it's still growing at an exponential rate. Now, for a modern next generation industrial solutions, right, these are some of the things, some of the value proposition that Meraki solutions bring forward, right? We help to increase your productivity for all your employees,
no doubt,
right, with our remote management capability, our rapid deployments capability. We allow you to have enhanced asset utilization, supply chain, logistics capability, right? Through our, intuitive dashboard, consistently fetching data out from the field, right? With this data, you are able to optimize your process, make your process run smoother, make it more efficient. And last but not least, we have our smart camera capability, which allows you to protect your critical infrastructure, critical assets within your organization.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to share that in the demo later.
Yeah. So with that, I'll hand over to George, where he will walk you through a use case and you do a quick demo.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ziyong. And again, I want to make sure we all understand that this is a real use case, and our customers truly are adopting Meraki, and they're doing that because they need to be on the forefront of evolving technology. So I'm really excited to talk to you about a particular customer called Noosa, which is actually a yogurt company, and they are really forward-looking in terms of how they see technology. As Ziyong so aptly pointed out before, IT is no longer just about connectivity, right? It's about the data that you can gather from your network, and it's about how you can use that information to better make business decisions. So whether it's monitoring and managing your different manufacturing lines or understanding how your staff or inventory is being handled, with integrations like wireless and our BLE integrated into Meraki wireless access points, you're able to understand where anything is, whether that's where an employee is or where the keys to a forklift are. And so we really believe that Noosa has really embraced Meraki technology, and they're also using our security cameras as well. So it's not just basic network infrastructure. They're looking into security cameras as a sensor, and also some of our new IoT sensors as well, to better understand how their factory floor is actually behaving and performing. So I want to, we've talked about Noosa. Let's talk about the Meraki platform as a whole before we get into the demo here. So Meraki historically has always been the best solution out there for an out-of-the-box cloud-managed network solution, right? The Meraki dashboard's the most intuitive, it's the easiest to pick up of any software product out there from an IT workspace perspective. But really where the power of Meraki comes from is your ability to choose, right? You can choose if you want to go out of the box, and we're absolutely continuing to improve across all of the different platforms that you see here on the screen, whether it's wireless, switching, SD-WAN, appliances, security cameras, mobile device management. You're always going to have the best, easiest to use out-of-the-box solution with Meraki, but we've really started to see Meraki as a platform lately, and that's really has to do with our API development. So anything that you see, in the Meraki dashboard is now available to be configured through our APIs, and that also opens up a whole world of different technologies. We talked about Bluetooth monitoring, we talked about wayfinding. There are a whole bunch of different solutions that can be built on top of Meraki through our API. So we don't have time to go super deep into API today, but I would encourage you to check out our developer page and our marketplace as well to see what some of our technology partners are doing in the industry that can really add a ton of value on top of the Meraki platform already. So with that, I really am excited to dive into a demo here, and we're going to take a look at how wireless can help you monitor and manage your different manufacturing plants, as well as how our MV security cameras allow you to get visibility, not just through video, but also through digital analytics into how your manufacturing floors are being utilized. Here we are in the Meraki dashboard. As you can see, this gives a clear view of which plants or sites are online, or which ones might be having outages. If we drill down to an individual site, we can even see user or IoT devices that are connected to the network, and which applications are being utilized across those devices. Moving over to Meraki cameras, we can see the full live frame or isolate a specific area of the frame as well. Drilling down, we can see how people or things are moving across the frame. We can see occupancy over time, and even a historical heat map. We can also generate alerts if someone enters a physical area they shouldn't be in. Finally, I'm happy to announce our new temperature, humidity, water, and door sensors. We think the Meraki products combined with dashboard are going to be game changers for the manufacturing industry.
Thank you, Mr. Ziyong and Mr. Dorsey. That was very informative. Indeed, there's so much that enterprises, large or small, can do with the solutions and technologies we have today. So let's hear what some of them have to say and what they look forward to with our services. Let's welcome Senior Vice President and CIO of LBC Express Inc., Mr. Alfie Diato.
My vision is to make LBC, a 75-year-old company, relevant to the times by being digitally driven internally and with our offering to the customer. We are currently operating close to normal capacity at the moment. Obviously, there were a lot of changes that we needed to implement during the start of the pandemic. The main challenge we had was the change in our operating model. From an IT perspective, we had to activate our BCP to have people work from home. There were a lot of challenges, especially at the start of the pandemic. One of the early challenges we had was the changing government regulations at the start, as everything was new to this type of crisis, including the government. The shutdown of transport and the limitation of movement was also challenging for us. Ensuring the safety of our people and our customers was also one of our primary concern. We, at the top management of LBC, was monitoring this closely and was adapting our operations with every change from the national and local governments. This had allowed us to operate continuously during the whole period of this pandemic. One of the biggest change is that most back office personnel had to work remotely. For LBC, the transition to work from home was seamless. We also had to fast-track our digital journey by enhancing our web pickup service and offering the sending of remittances from the comfort of their homes. We also continue to ensure the safety of our people and our customers by strictly following the safety protocols for COVID, while also doing regular COVID screening of our people. PLDT has helped us power our work from home workforce by providing wireless technology that allows our people with no internet connection to access our office applications. It allows us to be productive even for those without wired connections at home. Our contact center was also able to work remotely through this product. In the next few months, we would like to be able to provide more digital products and solutions to our customers. Our investments in technology has not slowed down, but was more prioritized to address the changing behavior of our customers. It would be good if we can work with PLDT to provide fiber connections to more locations so we can provide a more stable connection to our people.
Like Mr. Alfie of LBC, we look forward to servicing others like them. And now, here to share the various tools and technologies that are redefining the way we do business, please welcome Solutions and Technology Lead for Mobile B2B Philippines at Samsung, Mr. Anton Andres.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Anton Andres from Samsung Philippines. I would like to welcome everyone today in this session and to thank PLDT for hosting and inviting us to share some of our insights. I would like to start off with a quote shared by my colleague Ian Chong. He said, "COVID-19 is the very definition of a black swan event. Companies have been forced to rethink their business strategies and to find new ways of working. We now have the need to adopt and to adapt new technologies to be able to address the disruption and uncertainties that this pandemic has brought us. With our collective experience here in Samsung, we try to see how mobile technology and the convergence of our products can help address these challenges and help us cope with the changes that have come and that are yet to come. Here in the Philippines, as we ease up on restrictions, more and more of the workforce are being requested to go back to the office. Companies now face the challenge of keeping this pandemic at bay and at the same time maximizing available headcount. We look into three key aspects that businesses may need to consider as they transition to the next normal: health and safety, productivity and efficiency, and lastly, security and monitoring. A few months into this pandemic, Samsung US launched a social distancing solution. Running on our smartphones and wearables, this software utilizes Bluetooth technology to determine proximity of individuals. Employees can be alerted if they are within 6 feet of one another, and organizations can be informed if a crowd of 5 or more gather. Aside from managing social distancing, this solution also has contact tracing, transmission management, and managing of employee welfare and health concerns as well. In the field, employees would normally have to carry multiple devices with them. Aside from their traditional smartphones or tablets, they would normally have point-of-sale terminals, barcode scanners, walkie-talkies, and paper forms. Samsung provides a singular solution to the current field technicians' multi-device reality. By equipping your employees with a Samsung smartphone or tablet, we can now run multiple applications which are required on field. Mobile POS, barcode scanning integrated with AR, digital forms, and push-to-talk are just a few samples of the solutions that have been tested to run seamlessly and smoothly on our devices. Traditional warehouse and outdoor work environments used to be no place for a traditional smartphone or tablet. Water, heat, humidity, and frequent drops would definitely bring a smartphone to its knees, and employees' productivity along with it. But that was before the introduction of a new wave of ruggedized devices. Here we have the Galaxy X Cover Pro and the Galaxy Tab Active 3. These first ruggedized devices launched in Samsung Philippines are IP68 rated and can also withstand a drop of up to 1.5 meters. Aside from protecting your devices on the outside, we also want to make sure that we can protect your devices from within. And this is where Samsung Knox comes into play. Samsung Knox does not only benefit corporate accounts. As consumers, Samsung devices equipped with a Knox platform can provide additional security for all of your personal data. In the unfortunate event of device loss, theft, or rooting, the Knox platform, utilizing the same chipset, can block and wipe all of your personal data to prevent leakage and identity theft. As an added advantage for corporate accounts, the same platform can be used to enroll and configure devices in bulk. Newly issued smartphones and tablets, upon connecting to Wi-Fi or mobile data for the first time, can automatically and remotely receive these configurations and policies. Device rebranding, Wi-Fi whitelisting, website and application blacklisting, and location tracking are but a few examples of what Samsung Knox can do to secure your corporate devices. There's never been a more exciting yet equally challenging time. The world around us is rapidly changing. And as businesses evolve and adopt new technology, so too must they be equipped with the right tools to be able to address this situation. I hope this afternoon session has provided all of you with additional insights on how mobile technology can help us transition to this next few phase. And we would like to welcome everyone in moving forward and moving towards this next normal. Thank you again for your time, and I wish everyone a happy weekend.
Thank you for an insightful presentation, Mr. Andres. Now that you've discovered and learned about the latest technologies and solutions designed to reinvent your businesses, it's time for us to entertain questions.
Key in your questions, comments, and suggestions via the chat.
Now that you have discovered and learned about the latest technologies and solutions designed to reinvent your businesses, it's time for us to entertain questions. And at this point, let me introduce to you to our esteemed panelists, beginning with USEC RAFAELITA ALDABA from DTI, Marilyn Alberto, PMTLAI, Matthew Simon from NOKIA, Cyrus Mewawala, GLOBALDATA, Dick PEREZ, PLDT Enterprise, Ziyang Yo and George Dorsey from CISCO, Anton Andres from Samsung, Mitch Baul, Senior Digital Engagement Manager Enterprise, Strategic Solutions, PLDT Enterprise. To all our delegates, do engage with us by typing in your questions in the chat box. So panelists, good afternoon. These questions are coming in real time. So let's take a look at the first question, and this one is for Albert Tan, or from Albert Tan. This is addressed to you, USEC ALDABA. Are these government programs to be implemented as companies shift to Industry 4.0 technologies? What will happen to workers who would be displaced by robots? USEC, we can't hear you. There's an unmute button below your screen.
Sorry.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, thank you for that question, and good afternoon, everyone. Well, as mentioned in the presentation, the government is planning to implement really a comprehensive package of support to help the companies, to help industries, to help workers in the digital transformation that we are going to embark on. And primarily for companies, there would be incentives, both fiscal and non-fiscal, subsidies and other forms of fiscal assistance in order for them to quickly shift to these new technologies. And at the same time, of course, we are not forgetting the micro and the small, medium enterprises. And for workers, I know this is an important concern for people who are afraid that they might lose their jobs and would be displaced by all these robots. Well, government has is also planning for a transition plan that would support workers who would be displaced during this transition. We are suggesting measures such as adjustment, allowance, providing them with the trainings, as well as helping them find new jobs, matching them with companies who would be needing their new skills. And then, of course, for our academe and other training providers, there would be support in terms of coming up as well with
new curriculum, with new courses, really to help us upskill and reskill, upgrade our workforce, and match as well the needs of industry with the supply. So a lot of this would really be helpful in terms of facilitating the transition towards Industry 4.0 technologies.
Thank you for that, USEC ALDABA. It's good to know that there's a transition plan in place. Well, this next question is for Mr. Dick Perez. The question is, I'm interested in the IoT solutions presented. Are these ready, and how can I avail of these?
That's a great question, and thank you for asking. In the product presentation segment, you've seen a walkthrough of the possible IoT solutions that will fit a supply chain ecosystem. These are near-future solutions that focus on data consolidation and monitoring of your systems and machines. Together with our technology partners, we will make this available to our enterprise customers. You have to understand, though, that the solutions presented are somewhat canned and off-the-shelf solutions. Therefore, thorough scoping must be done to determine how to custom fit these solutions based on how you would want to structure your processes and how you would want to face your transformation to a smart and IoT-equipped environment. Every manufacturing company employs a different process depending on the type of product or company priorities or direction as dictated by the market. As such, we need to have an in-depth discussion with the key stakeholders of the entire manufacturing process, including the solutions architect who designed it, so we can fully understand and appreciate, and in the end, recommend the best possible solution for you. Please do reach out to your respective relationship managers so we can sit down with you to further discuss and hopefully provide insights on what solution or solutions will fit and address the issues or pain points that you have. Thank you, and I hope I was able to answer your question.
All right, thank you, Mr. Perez. It's very, very clear, actually. Now, the third question that's coming in is for Matthew Simon. Mr. Simon, this is from Eric Cruz. Can you expound on digital twin? What is required to deploy this? In your Chennai example, how did this help the manufacturing facility?
Thank you very much for the interest in our factory, and also how do we digitize manufacturing. If you look at the concept of digital twin, it's really to make the physical item that we have into a digital representation. That means we can, as if we can sense it, we understand it, but beyond that, how do you also control it? Because when you can convert that into a digital understanding of perception, then you're able to do a lot more things using algorithms, automation, and artificial intelligence. Now, to make that happen, in our view, there's about 2 or 3 things that you really need. So number one, you need to be ready with your digital mindset to convert everything digital. You need to have a solid roadmap in terms of how do you want to implement sensors and IoT frameworks. Then you also need to think about how do you want to ensure that it's agile coming back into the data that you collect, because there'll be a lot of data that you're going to collect. How do you process that? How do you collect that very efficiently? And finally, you need to have a platform that you can, cater for all of this data that you're going to gather. And what it gives you is exactly what we saw in our Chennai factory, a lot more agile factory. So as the demands change, you're able to change what you want to do very effectively and rapidly. But more than that, you saw the amount of TCO savings that we are able to deliver. And that's really the driver in being able to sweat the assets that you have in a much more effective way. So I hope that kind of addresses why do you want to take down the journey of digital transformation in your manufacturing areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simon. This next question is addressed to Ms. Marilyn Alberto. As an industry association, what is the Philippine Multimodal Transport and Logistics Association doing to encourage small and medium-scale company members to consider digitalization in their operations? This is from Sara Santa Maria.
Thank you for that question. So what we basically do is facilitate the introduction of various digital platforms available in the market. So for example, last July, we had our Digital Week, wherein we invited 4 companies to explain the features and benefits of the respective platforms. One presented the online open market platform for the exchange of empty shipping containers, matching parties that have empties to those who need them. Another one made a presentation on their transport management system, which helps in fleet monitoring, maximizing the productivity of our delivery trucks. And two service providers expounded on their supply chain orchestration platforms, which enables companies to integrate logistics, compliance, sales and marketing, and financial activities in one platform. So basically, through the Digital Week and our webinars in the past and in the future, we're giving our small and medium scale members the chance to be more familiar with what's out there for them to use and consider which digital platforms would be a best fit to their respective companies. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Ms. Marilyn Alberto. Now, this question is addressed to Cyrus. The next question is, what are the key technologies in the factory of the future? That is from Maricris de la Fuente.
Thank you. That's a pretty timely question, because if the global economy enters into any kind of recession, then I think automation will accelerate as companies strive to cut costs. And we see, 5 key technologies for factories that want to tech-enable themselves for the future. The first is visualization technologies like augmented reality or virtual reality, digital twins, or just general data visualization tools. The second is automation technologies like industrial robots, but also autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, robotic process automation. The third is AI technologies, which are quite important these days: machine learning, computer vision, context awareness, and all types of data science for predictive maintenance. The fourth is connectivity and IoT technology, so drones, 5G, wearable tech. And then finally, collaboration tools, which are increasingly becoming important, as we've seen, as more people work at home, especially from the factory.
All right, thank you for that one, Cyrus. The next question is addressed to our CISCO partners, George and Z. Which products from Meraki are best suited for manufacturing plants or infrastructure? Does Meraki support connectivity between multiple facilities? This question is from Mark Nilsson.
So I'll take the first part, and then I'll hand it over to Xiong for part 2. So first of all, thank you. I love this question because I get to give a really great answer, which is all of them. But in all seriousness, we do see our customers, manufacturing customers, really adopting Meraki technology. It's been an enormous focus area for Cisco Meraki in this fiscal year for us. And so really the whole suite of different Meraki products, whether it's our ruggedized outdoor access points that can be used in high temperature or high dust facilities, or our ruggedized cameras that actually have VR integration. Cyrus mentioned VR. We have fully integrated VR with our cameras so that you can actually wear a headset and do site inspection of a manufacturing floor from anywhere in the world, leveraging the Meraki cameras. Additionally, all of the integrations with our new Meraki NT sensors for doing humidity testing, as well as if the door is open or shut, and then integration with our APIs to allow you to do counting of people or understand how the floor is being utilized, understand how pallets are moving around, and better make that floor as efficient as possible in this new day and age where we need to use as much of the floor space as possible in the most efficient way. And we think that with Meraki API and some of our third-party technology partners, we can really achieve that. So the answer is the whole product, all the different product lines, but there are a few that are specific, like our outdoor access points, our ruggedized cameras, and our NT sensors as well. So Xiong, you want to take the second part of the question?
Yep. So thank you everybody. Thank you everybody for thank you for the question. Good afternoon, everybody. So that's with Meraki SD-WAN technology, you guarantee secure connectivity across multiple sites within the plants, within the offices, right? No matter what the connection medium might be, essentially transport agnostic. We allow you to connect securely across multiple sites, right? And then furthermore, with our adaptive policy, we fully integrate into the Cisco multi-domain strategy. With this adoptive policy, we allow consistent group policy, consistent security policies to be applied to devices as they roam around your manufacturing floors. So this ensures that your manufacturing floor is secure and always has that consistent performance across multiple sites.
All right, thank you for that, George and Z. Now, this next question is for Mr. Anton Andres. Are the Samsung ruggedized devices already available in the Philippines? How are they different compared to your standard phones and tablets? That question is coming from Stephen Santiago.
Hello, good afternoon again, everyone. And once again, thank you for joining this afternoon's session. So yes, the Galaxy X Cover Pro has been launched in partnership with Smart and PLDT last August 2020. And we will be launching the Galaxy Tab Active 3 next month, this coming November. So how are they different? I can think of roughly 19 or 20 reasons why you should get the ruggedized devices compared to our smartphones and tablets. But I'll limit it down in the interest of time. For one, these ruggedized devices come with a Galaxy S10, the Galaxy Tab Active 3 in particular. It can withstand a drop of 1.5 to 1.8 meters, and it is also IP68. In addition to this, it also has DeX mode. So for those that have a Samsung LCD monitor or Samsung Smart TV, you can pair it up to enjoy larger real estate space to be able to access all your basic applications directly from your tablet onto your TV or LCD monitor. Another feature that we would like to highlight is that you can actually remove the battery as well. So in case you need to deploy your tablet or your Galaxy X Cover Pro in field, you can easily replace the battery. And there is actually a feature called no battery mode as well. So if you need to plug in your tablet or your X Cover Pro directly on a socket in your car or in the automotive, you can automatically plug it and turn it on even without any battery. Thank you. If you have more questions, don't hesitate to contact us and your relationship managers as well.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot more questions coming in. There's actually another question for Miss Mitch Baul. A common problem in distribution companies is knowing its real-time inventory. How can Simply ERP help with that problem? That question is from Charlie Key.
Hi. Thank you, Marga. So to answer that question, Simple ERP is built on SAP Business One platform. It offers full transparency of inventory and accounting transactions with powerful reporting tools to help improve business insights. In addition, it generates up-to-the-minute reports based on continuous inventory data for powerful item management. So you see, this inventory module can be fully integrated with the different modules within the solution, such as sales and purchasing, to provide efficient and accurate stock management. So that's how Simple ERP helps in addressing the challenges on real-time inventory experienced by distribution companies. So we can discuss this further, so you can reach out to us, reach out to the relationship managers handling the account, so we can discuss this further with all.
I think
Thanks, Marga.
Thank you for that, Mitch. There are a lot more questions coming in. This one is from Jack Rodrigo. It's a question for, the question is, what are your quality processes in relation to technology to mitigate human error in keeping the safety of the workforce? And that question is for Cyrus. Sorry, Cyrus, we can't hear you. There's no audio.
So, sorry, could you repeat the question, please? I didn't catch that.
Sure, no problem. The question is, what are your quality processes in relation to technology to mitigate human error in keeping the safety of the workforce?
I think it goes back to my original answer with the 5 key technologies. You need to deploy all of these technologies. And often what companies miss is they might just pick 5 or 6 of the technologies I mentioned, and really you need a portfolio of all of them to put it all together.
All right. This other question coming in, since we have a lot of questions coming in right now. This one is from Emmanuel Bustamante, and the question is for Ms. Marilyn. What will be the effect of technology in the labor force? How will companies balance it?
Well, Well, definitely, some of the jobs will be obsolete, but there will be new jobs that will be coming in or will be developed. So what we employers need to do is find ways to upskill our current workforce. I hope I was able to answer your question.
All right, thank you, Ms. Marilyn. Now, there's another question coming in for Mr. Dick Perez. With the advent of a smart city developments, 5G, IoT, and automation, how do you envision the local and regional landscapes of manufacturing to change in the next year?
All right, thank you for the question. Well, I used to handle the regional areas, and part of the initiatives that we have done was to partner with the local government units to propagate and provide them insights on how to deploy and how to create a smart city. Now, of course, with the smart city comes all sectors, the consumers, or you're calling this the towns and the cities. And of course, this includes the industrial parks and which houses or which locates all the manufacturing companies. Now, part of the solution that we need to address, of course, is coverage. We know that. Even with the previous breakout sessions, it was asked. So let me just give you an insight or an update probably on what we are doing. Definitely the demand for internet connection will continue to increase. And PLDT is prepared for this. From 2015 to 2019, we have invested about 260 billion to improve our fixed and wireless infrastructure. We ended 2019 with more than 321,000 kilometers of fiber infrastructure. And for this year alone, we earmarked about 70 billion to fund and continue with network enhancements. And that's an additional 61,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable that we will bring to the provinces and to the other regional areas. Now let's go to smart wireless infrastructure. Our network team ramped up LTE rollout through installation of additional about 4,230 LTE base stations, bringing the total LTE base stations to more than 28,000. The demand for a higher speed internet connection will continue, as I've said, and more sophisticated applications are coming in. Preparing for this, Smart has already started deploying 5G base stations in key cities in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and will continue ramping up deployment in the coming months. All this proved rewarding, and as a testament to this, PLDT and Smart were awarded to have the fastest internet speed by no less than UCLA. They are the global leader in internet testing. So definitely, Smart City will envelop the key regional areas, and this will include the industrial parks or the manufacturing zones. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Dick Perez. That's actually good news, but I wish we had more time. Thank you, dear panelists, and I know there are still more questions coming in, but because of time constraints, we'd have to let you go. Now, looks like we're all out of time, but we'd love to hear the rest of your questions. So if you have any more queries, please proceed to the exhibit hall and interact with the representatives from PLDT Enterprise and the rest of our partners. This is the last session of the Philippine Digital Convention 2020. The platform will close at 6 p.m., but feel free to explore the virtual venue and engage with our sponsors and fellow delegates. Again, we would like to thank our presenters and panelists for spending this memorable afternoon with us. Special thanks to our official event partners. To all our delegates, thank you all for tuning in again. You can get a chance to win these exciting raffle prizes just by answering our feedback form that will be flashed on your screens after the program. Once again, I am Marga Arenas Vargas, and this has been the Impact of Business Transformation featuring eMANUFACTURING and eLOGISTICS Breakout Session of the Philippine Digital Convention 2020. Brought to you by PLDT Enterprise, SMART, and ePLDT.